Hey everyone, Arbor617 here with another Minecraft animation tutorial using Blender. This tutorial is going to be a little different, it's going to be a little interesting. It is about facial animation for Minecraft characters, specifically using the BPS rig, but more specifically, I'll be using a scene for Songs of War. This is the Biggerton scene, and rather than me just doing a kind of abstract tutorial, just using some random characters with some random faces, this is actually going to be the actual facial animation that's going to be used for this scene, for this character. As you can see down here, probably if you see the corner of my screen, the date is probably many months before you're seeing this video. I'm recording this tutorial in advance. That way, we'll have this tutorial using an actual scene from Songs of War rather than later. So we're going to be going over things like eyebrows, eyes, blinks, face, mouths, lip sync, dialogue-based stuff, mouth expressions and everything. I'll have kind of timestamps down below the video if you want to jump right to a specific part of the face. If you just want to do lip sync or you're just interested in how I do eyes or blinks or something, that'll all be in the description. And also, one of the reasons I'm making this tutorial is to kind of help people who are interested in becoming an animator for Songs of War. With Season 1, all the facial animation was done by me, at least at the time of recording this tutorial. It's pretty much all been done by me, and it'll probably all be done by me. However, in Season 2, we'll be also having people help out with facial animation just to save some time. Some people can be an animator and do faces, or some people will probably be able to just join on if they just want to help with faces. So, if you're interested in helping out with Songs of War, check our apply page. By the time this tutorial goes up, there might be some info on applying to be a facial animator. So if you follow this tutorial and you get good at doing these faces, you should be able to apply and help out for Songs of War. Okay, I've yammered on long enough. Let's get started. So this is a scene that, is all pre-face right now. All the animations here, the camera work's all in here. And what we're about to be doing is starting to put the faces on. When I work on scenes for Songs of War, one of the most important things I do is I have this big list of everything that needs to be done in order to finish the scene, such as things like scene layout, doing the animation, polishing camera stuff, depth of field, all these things to make sure I don't forget anything. As you can see, the eyes and the faces, and which includes mouth, basically everything involving the face, takes up almost about half of the list of things to do, which is why it's one of the first things I'd recommend when doing facial animation is to get this list. Make sure you have all these things, and we're going to go through these in order, and I'll show you why you want this list, because there's lots of different things you can do with the face, and it's easy just to forget about something. Sometimes I'll forget about blinks, sometimes I'll forget to curve the mouth, and there's lots of different stuff you can use. So step 1, write down basically those things, or any of your own way of writing that, but you definitely want a checklist. So let's get started again. Sorry, this tutorial's already been pretty long, and you haven't actually had any information yet, but again, this one's meant more as a tutorial for specifically people who are interested in helping out with Songs of War animation. So it might be a little clunky overall. Anyway, so we're going to be using this character for this tutorial. I thought this was a good character because he goes between a lot of different expressions. He gets really happy, he gets kind of angry, gets a little snarky with them. So step 1, let's see what's first. Eye movement. So you don't have to do this, but I actually have different colors depending on if it's in progress or if it's complete. So now we're going to get eye movement going, so we're going to mark it orange because it's now in progress. So the first thing, obviously, is to make the facial expression stuff appear again, like so. And starting right here, one other thing we're going to want with doing facial animation is we're going to want the little 3D camera up in the corner. So now I have that back in the corner, so even if I move around, we can see what's going on. Also, I have screencast keys down here if you ever get lost, so you can see what keys I'm pressing.
Welcome.
So, here he is. Hopefully you can hear the audio as well.
Welcome. What can I help you with?
It's actually a little bit loud for me. I'm just going to turn my sound down a tiny bit. It's kind of hard for me to hear over it. But hopefully that's all coming through.
What can I help you with today?
And let's get started. So, step 1, eye movement. Let's get the first shot where he becomes a little bit visible. And we'll just grab the little eye controller. For doing all this stuff, I always recommend stay in location rotation. I pretty much always stay in that. I almost never change except for in a little bit. And I'll show you why we'll change in a bit. So let's make a keyframe. And in this case, because he's kind of starting from off camera, we can just kind of start by having his eyes kind of turn towards the camera. You can't really see too much here, and you don't really see his face all right about here. Then we want him to be looking kind of towards the camera, even though the characters might be a little more over here. The point of the camera shot here is that he's kind of turning to look at us. We kind of are the camera, so he's looking at the camera. You just go forward a little bit and kind of keep it centered. Sorry, I also realized I just set the viewport up like that, and I'm actually in the wrong viewport. There we go. This is what I actually wanted. Okay, sorry about that. This is actually what we should be doing. We'll want to be in animation, obviously, so we'll be using the dope sheet a whole lot. This is why I mentioned this tutorial might not be the cleanest tutorial, but I want this tutorial to be more of a very genuine tutorial. This is literally going to be me going from start to finish on this scene being used. There we go. Okay. So now he looks at the camera. A lot of times I'll zoom way in on this viewport so I can be a little more precise. So he looks towards the camera. He does look like he's looking a little bit up right there. You can see a little bit of that white under his eye. In this case, we want him kind of looking more level. He also looks like he's right at the end of the shot. He's kind of like drifting up now. We can only looking more. And then now here I'm going to have him look back towards the chest. He's not going to be looking towards him the whole time. He'll look at him. Then right here he'll look back towards the chest he was working with. When I do eye movements, if it changes from, you know, looking over here to looking at the chest, you know, I don't just go forward like 5 frames and move it. I always go forward either 1 or 2 frames. I always have my eye movements very quick, so I go 2 frames over and now he looks back at the chest. And go forward now a little bit more forward, and he's kind of like looking up a little bit as he's holding it. And he's off camera, but we'll just kind of center it anyway and pull it up a little bit. And then he goes off camera for a bit. And when he comes back, I believe he's looking, let's see. So then let's listen to it and see what he says here.
All right, that'll be 50 gold.
So he might be looking at them at the start. When he's kind of listening to them, he's listening to Sen finish talking. Then he's going to look down. So again, 2 keyframes, then have him look down. You can also do 1 keyframe, depending on how fast the movement is or how far. In this case, you could get away with 1 keyframe and have it just kind of dart down. So now he's going to be kind of looking down there.
All right.
And right around here, I could even make him kind of give another little eye movement, having little subtle movements here and there. Because when you actually look at something, even if you're holding, you know, a cup and you're looking at the cup, you don't just stare at one spot. You look at it, go forward a frame, and then you maybe kind of change this position just a little bit. Go for a little more. Maybe have it dart another little bit to the side. Have these little subtle movements. In this case, he's going to be looking way more, so I'll go definitely 2 frames. Then he's looking back at Sen. So now if I scrub back through this, he's looking at them. His eyes look down there. You get a little bit of him kind of looking around right there. You can see that very subtle, but you get that little bit of kind of just looking around at what he's doing. Then he, as he's picking it back up, looks back towards them. In fact, I might even have him look back towards them a little sooner. He's reaching for it. Then he looks back towards them. And here, now we actually have Sen on camera. So we're going to want to make it look kind of like he's actually looking towards Sen. More specifically, Sen's eyes. So he's kind of looking a little more on the upside. So it's okay to have a little bit of that kind of white along the bottom.
50 gold.
And then make sure just kind of by the end of this thing, it's still kind of same spot. You don't want it to start like moving off. Alright, so then he's off camera again for a little bit. And here, let's see what the next thing is. It's always important to listen to the dialogue first, get a feel for what you're going to be working with.
If you want all of Ardonia, it's going to cost you double. If you want all of Ardonia...
So he says that if you want all of Ardonia, and does this little arm wave, so we could expect maybe he does some kind of like all of Ardonia kind of thing like that. So that's what I'm probably going to go for here. But he's going to start out looking at them again, because he's talking to them. He's like, if you want, and have it right there. Let me right about here. 2 frames, it kind of goes up.
All of Ardonia.
Does a little roll over. And then kind of slow it down, and then right here, 2 frames forward, back on looking at Sen. And here it's kind of hard to tell exactly where Sen is. In fact, actually we teleported him back, so let's kind of put it maybe like around there. There we go. So now he goes, if you want all of Ardonia.
Don't want.
And it's good to also even play it back a lot.
If you want all of Ardonia.
Oh, I also realized I had some layers on there causing a little bit of slowness. Let's turn all those off.
If you want all of Ardonia, it's... Yeah.
And here's where I'll do things where sometimes I'll just go, you know, if he kind of stops his eyes for a moment and it seems like he's holding still for too long, right in the middle of it, I'll just randomly go 1 frame and have his eye go a tiny bit to either side. Because when you're looking at someone, you'll sometimes, your eyes will go between looking from their left eye to their right eye, kind of. This is a very subtle thing that I'll do just to help kind of liven it up just a little bit.
Ardonia, it's going to...
And then now he'll look back towards the left eye. these very subtle amounts of kind of...
It's going to cost you double.
It just helps a lot with kind of making the eyes
It's
not
going to
seem so stiff. That might be even a little bit much. We want it to be pretty darn subtle.
It's going to cost you double. It's going to cost you double.
And then here I might actually have him turn his eyes more towards like Ignis over in the corner.
Double. Yes. It's going to cost you double.
And I noticed I put it a little bit late, so we're going to pull him back over a bit.
You double. Double.
By the end of the shot, I kind of want him a little bit more looking like up a bit.
Double.
Yes, we want all of our...
Okay, so then we'll preview that back, see how that looks.
If you want all of Ardonia, it's going to cost you double.
Yes, we want all of our...
That looks pretty good. I don't worry too much about, like, you know, there's a million and one ways you could do facial animation or something on the same scene. 10 people could take it and do 10 different things. So, you know, just finding something that works and looks pretty good. So now he's kind of looking at the map.
Alright, that'll...
I think one downside here is I know all this scene here. I know the dialogue before I've even pressed played. So you'll obviously be spending a little more time listening to things, previewing it first. Whereas in my case, I'm kind of going a little more in advance because I know all the dialogue. I've heard it a million times by now.
Alright, that'll be 200.
So he's kind of looking at the map. Maybe here, again, we'll do another little eye movement. Go forward 2 frames and have him kind of look more towards the top of the map. So he's kind of looking at the map, he's checking it, and then maybe reads the label at the top. He's still looking at the top. And then now he looks back towards Sen.
Gold.
Like so. And again, if you find that you're moving in, it's really going around a lot. I find just zooming in a whole bunch, you can really get precise. I do a lot of zooming in and out.
Alright, that'll be 200 gold.
Although I'm not liking the upwards eye dart. I think it needs to start sooner. It goes up and goes right back down too quick. So I'm gonna have him look at it. I'm gonna have him raise his eyes a lot sooner. I'm also gonna make that a 1 keyframe jump.
Alright, that'll be 200 gold. Alright, that'll be 200 gold. Alright.
I think it's still have it even sooner.
Alright, that'll be 200 gold.
Yeah, it looks better now.
Alright, that'll be 200 gold.
I think
you'll get real used to hearing dialogue over and over.
Gold.
But you'll get that if you're doing the character animation as well. Probably more so with faces though, because you can't really get away with muting it. Noticing a little bit of it kind of seems like it goes. The problem, he leans back. So at a case like this, you wouldn't want to put a keyframe like here, where it's kind of halfway up. Just wait till it gets to the end, and then put it back. So it's kind of
200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
And here, we want him to start out looking at Sen and then kind of turns towards Igneous, because he was looking at Sen.
Double.
Then Igneous comes out.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's 200.
And then he kind of turns towards him. So what I would do here is have him kind of looking at Sen. Just keep it on Sen for about maybe even like 2 frames. Then now it turns 2 frames over and looks at Igneous. You wouldn't want to start having right on the cut, have him already look. Otherwise the cut might be a little quick.
It's 200.
But having it like that, you get the kind of tiny bit of an effect of it kind of looking at you, then he looks away. And then kind of go up and have him looking a little more flat. Looking a little more down. And here you go, a lot of nice kind of looking kind of up at him. And he's doing a lot of head movements, so you got a lot to work with here. It's actually a pretty good scene as far as examples go, because he's got lots of kind of movement.
It'd be double.
It's 200 gold, pal.
It might be, actually I feel like he's looking a little too far left, and it turns out I was actually correct. He wasn't quite that far over. So sometimes you just kind of go back, step back through the frames. Kind of make sure, not quite as much to this side. Igneous isn't that far off to the side.
200 gold, pal.
Although now it almost seems like he overshoots, then he kind of looks back a little bit. So right here.
Gold, pal. It's 200 gold, pal.
Then here getting a little bit too much, so just a little bit of refining, making sure it looks like he's looking in the same direction. Okay, and then here, this is one where you might not know so much. If this was a Songs of War case and you're doing Songs of War animation, I'd give you the little script of the scene, and here in the scene it mentions that the doorbell ring is heard, and then he kind of looks around and not a doorbell ring, but like a little ding, like a little chime gets chimed as the door opens, And then, but even without that script, you can kind of see he turns,
Welcome
and
to
then you see something else. So he's looking at Igneous, you're holding him on Igneous, and then he hears something, so 2 frames. Then he kind of looks to the side as he hears something. Ding. And the eyes usually go a little bit before the head, but not so much. You kind of want a little bit like that. And he leans. Now he's kind of looking over Sen's shoulder at whoever's it is walking in the door right now.
welcome.
And paying attention to keep paying attention to make sure the eyes are constantly like looking at something. You don't want them kind of like wandering around and kind of making it look like whatever he's looking at is like something moving around everywhere. It's gonna be a long tutorial. I can already tell because we're still on eyes, and this is one of the fastest ones.
Welcome to Marshall's map.
But hopefully after Songs of War comes out and you watch this tutorial, you'll be like, oh, cool. This tutorial is actually kind of relevant and not just like an abstract thing. We're almost done though. The scene's actually getting close to the end. It's not a very long scene, which is why one of the reasons I chose it. You have to thank Judo for being the one to do most of the animation on this scene. I did the layout. Judo did the actual like character movements on this one, other than the final polish I do. So I'm just kind of keeping him looking at whoever's over there. Now let's play it back. Actually, let's play it back from a little further back. Let's go back to here.
It's 200 gold, pal. Welcome to Marshall's map shop. We've got
1 point right here. It looks like he's looking a little too much left. I'm looking a little bit more towards. These things can get a little finicky. You get pretty darn precise. The eyes are one of those things where if they're even just a little bit off, you can tell like it's not looking at something.
Price of 50 gold.
Wait, I thought you just said it was 200 gold.
For you and your friend.
And then we're almost at the end. So this is similar to the one earlier where he's looking at the person at the door. And then he'll kind of turn towards Sen. He says you and your friend. So we'll have him start by staring at Sen for a bit.
You and your.
So he's still staring at Sen as he says you and your.
You and your friend.
And right here he'll turn towards Igneous a little more.
Friend. You and your friend.
There's a lot to eyes and stuff where like if the character has like this where there's the whites under their eyes, it can make them look a little more mad or menacing. Whereas if it's more down, it makes them look sad. This is obviously something that if you're just doing facial animation, you might not have as much control over because the heads and stuff's already been done. But you can see that fortunately in this case the head's been done well such that he's looking down. So now we can get that kind of looking up a little more angry looking. It's a little hard to tell eyes sometimes because you have to kind of imagine what the rest will be doing.
For you and your friend, for you and your friend.
And here I'm seeing a little bit of kind of jitter. See how it kind of wavers a little bit? It looks like it's kind of here and it kind of drifts. I think because I'm going to move that keyframe over a lot more.
It's
still a little bit. Now I need to move the point back a bit, like so.
And gold. For you and your friend.
And maybe even actually right here, I think he's kind of holding on Igneous for too long because he's kind of angry. To be a little more quicker eye movements. So I'm going to actually put a keyframe here and then kind of change his eye position a little bit. Maybe have him look back at Sen here. He's kind of like
friend. It's friend.
Or just look at a different part of Igneous.
Friend. It's to friend. You and your friend. It's to friend. And your friend.
Still looking a little bad. Sometimes if it starts looking bad, we just delete it and start kind of fresh.
Friend.
I think I might have messed up too many keyframes.
And your friend. It's.
Now I'm going to actually just try just leaving on Igneous, then going back to Sen.
200. It's 200. 200. Now.
And here's a case where when he says like now, okay, so let me play it out first.
Now, do you want to buy it or not?
So you could have him continuously just staring at Sen the whole time, but in reality, a lot of times you're not always staring at people's faces. You kind of look to the side. So here he goes.
Now.
He goes now. So I'd have him kind of look down into the side like.
Now.
And then again, I'm also doing. I'm instinctively having kind of looks down. Then after a little while, I have about another frame move it slightly just to get that kind of...
Now, do you want to...
And then wait a little bit right about here. Then he's going to look back towards Sen.
Now, do you want to buy it or not? Do you want to buy it or not?
And then again, because it's kind of frozen for a little bit, we're going to have, after a few frames, keyframe it, go forward, have a look at the other eyeball a little bit, like so. Very subtle kind of...
Not.
I'm going to pull that over a little bit as well.
Or not. Or not.
There we go, it's looking pretty good. Let's preview that now.
For you and your friend, it's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not?
It's looking pretty good. The only thing I don't like is still right around here. It seems a little... He's kind of looking very far down. Needs to go up more there.
200. Now, do you... 200. It's 200.
This keyframe's the one that seems off.
200.
Still seems like it's getting this weird jitter going on here.
It's 200. It's 200.
Sometimes if you find it's getting a little wavy, having it go on a one keyframe movement helps avoid that a bit. Because now you're getting more of the...
It's 200.
Well, it seems like it's too far to the side still.
It's 200. It's 200. It's 200. Now, do you want to...
That's looking pretty good now.
It's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not?
There, and I'm done. Okay, so that was the eyes. We got all the eye movements in. That seems pretty good. So we can check it off. Eye movement is now complete. And we'll now move on to the eye dilation. This is a little subtle thing that a lot of times you don't have any of this. Oh, sorry, that's in progress. A lot of times you don't have any eye dilation stuff, but I chose this scene because there's a little moment where I think it worked pretty well. Where was that?
All right, that'll gold, pal. Oh, it's 200 gold, pal.
There's the very last part when he gets a little angry.
For you and your friend.
So right here, we're going to want his eyes to get just a little bit smaller. He's kind of angry. When you want people mad, sometimes you can like scale them down a little bit, but just a little subtle amount. So right here, we're going to want to keyframe the scale, but because we work in location rotation, we can't keyframe the scale like this. But there's another way of doing that very easily, which is why I always just stay in location rotation for the most part, because we can simply go into the bone tab here with this selected. Right about the start, we're going to want it to start scaling down. So right at the start of the scene, basically, sorry, start of the shot, right click the scale, keyframe it. Again, make sure we're in bone, we're not an object. So we're on the bone.
For you and your friend.
And then right here, it's about, kind of here's like the midpoint of him being a little more angry. So we'll go down to like 0.95, maybe a little more, 0.94.
It's 200.
And then after a little bit, it kind of wears off a little bit. So maybe now I'll go back up to 0.95 or 0.96.
Now, do you want to buy it or not?
And then goes back up a little more. Do you want to buy it or
not?
Not. And it already says not. He's going to have a big frown at the end. So then that'll probably be the smallest 0.93.
Buy it or not?
And right now that doesn't look like much, but once you add the extra little eyebrows and stuff, you start getting a little bit more. The difference between this here and having it that, you will feel that kind of the eyes, after seeing the eyes one way for so long, you'll notice little things like that. And you can go a little more. If you're really angry, you can get even smaller than that. I usually don't go much beyond, I hardly ever go below 0.9. That'd be like super angry. But that little subtle bit helps a lot.
Gold.
For you and your friend, it's 200.
And just make sure it starts out on 1, so you don't accidentally start out on 0.9 and have messed up everything before it. And this character doesn't come back in the scene, so it's fine if we leave it at 0.93. So that's eye dilation. We are now done with the actual eyes themselves. So now we can check off this whole section. Let us move, okay, well, I'm checking all these things off now. However, I'm not nearly done with all the eyes. I got every other character's eyes in the entire scene to do, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we're done. So next up, faces, upper eyes. This is where things get a little interesting and more difficult than what we've been doing. If you thought what we've been doing has been taking some time, now it's getting worse. So, with upper eyes, let's get started. Back into Blender. Okay, for a moment, let's turn off auto keyframe, and let's go back to kind of the beginning of the scene. Let's try to find a point where he's just kind of standing, kind of neutral, and I'll show you why in a moment. Maybe like right around like here. Okay, that's a pretty good neutral pose. What we're going to do is we're going to have, let's go in object mode, unselect everything, make sure keyframe's off, do Shift A. We're going to add a new camera, and then just kind of bring the camera up in here, and then we're going to press this button in the viewport that unlocks like the viewport to different stuff. So we're going to unlock it, and then we're going to do Control numpad 0 with our new camera selected, and now we're going to be inside our new camera, and you can see in the upper corner we still have all the old stuff retained, so we can still watch the animation as it's meant to be, but we have this new camera. And the reason we're doing this is if we take the new camera, go right up to our character, zoom out a lot, go out to like 18, get kind of close. We're going to want to see the mouth thing. We'll be needing the mouth thing soon. I usually try to get it just like so. This is about how I frame it. Also, honestly, we don't even need the background stuff at this point. But we want it to be right about like so. And then we'll turn up the starting clip thing to get rid of the little eye thing in front of the camera. There we go. And then we're going to make sure while this new camera is selected, Shift select the head. Oh, okay, go in pose mode. Try that again. While we're in pose mode on the rig, grab the camera, Shift select the bone for the head, Control P, bone, and now we've got like a GoPro kind of thing stuck to his head, which is surprisingly useful. And this was actually one of Thomas's suggestions at one point. It was a joke at first, but it ended up being super useful. I'm also going to increase the clip a little more. You notice how there's some stuff getting between us and the face, so I'm going to kind of increase the clip. You can increase the clip as much as you want as long as it's not going into the face. Now we're good. So now we've got this nice GoPro view of his face, and we can still see how the original stuff looked up there. So we're good to get started on the eyes. Eyebrows. Alright, so he's putting the chest up, so he's going to be kind of straining a little bit as he's kind of holding this heavy chest. So put on auto keyframe again, but remember here, we're going to want to change to location, rotation, scale. This is very, very, very important, and this is why I have the layout, I have the order of these things set to this, because we'll want to switch right here. Well, first, the reason I have eyes is because we can do the eyes without the custom camera. It's actually easier to do the eyes from the normal camera, which is why I have that in one section. Then for faces, the first two things require setting to location, rotation, scale. Then we'll switch back, the first three things. Then when we switch back to the mouth, you could even divide this into like eyes, faces, mouths if you wanted. I leave it as one big one, but this is kind of how I do it. I do it all in eyes, then I turn to location, rotation, scale here, then we stay in the camera, but then we go back to location, rotation. Anyway, I'm going to actually leave it like this because this is just how I do it for myself. So we're on location, rotation, scale now, and the reason is because the BPS rig has this stuff. Oh, also it's very sharp, so we'll want to make sure that one, we have our little subdivision slider on. We do have the subdivision slider on, but I actually have the scene set to simplify. I'm going to turn simplify. I'll leave simplify on, but I'll turn it to 1. That way at least I can see a little bit of the curving. It's not as much as if I had it on like 2 or 3, but it's fine. Anyway, so, alright, yeah, so let's do it. So, auto keyframes back on. Let's start him out in a kind of like a little bit of a straining kind of pose. And you can, what I do when doing the faces, I usually start by just kind of grabbing all 4 of these things and just doing it all at once, kind of symmetrically. Then I'll go through and kind of mess with the eyebrows a little bit, so he's kind of straining here. We don't really even see this though, it's just he's going to be coming out of this pose when he starts.
Welcome!
Then he turns towards the camera, so we're going to have him kind of raise his eyes and eyebrows a little bit, he's just kind of like welcoming them. So we want him to look a little happier here. So we just go to a kind of happy looking pose, raise his eyebrows a little more, maybe curve a little more.
Welcome!
And then he kind of holds that for a little bit, but rather than leaving completely frozen, we'll just kind of extend it a tiny bit more. So that way there's a little bit of movement. It kind of goes, welcome, slows down.
What can I help you with today?
Then as he goes back towards it, he'll kind of lower the stuff back down, but now he's not looking quite as grumpy because he has customers. So now he goes,
Welcome. What can I help you with today?
Hi.
and that works, honestly. In this shot, he's kind of not really on camera that much, doesn't really matter too much. And so we'll just keep scrubbing while he's off camera, don't need to worry about it. Okay, now he's about to come on camera. So let's...
Sardonia.
So he's just kind of walking up. It's kind of static here. There's nothing really too interesting. So I go back to kind of default. Maybe give it a little bit of, just a little bit of kind of something to it that's not quite default.
Sardonia.
All right.
Then now he's reaching down again, so I'd have him kind of like a little bit of kind of, not squinting, but something kind of
All right.
like he's reaching down. Also, I'm going to do something kind of asymmetrical here, where it's going to look kind of more like he's just kind of like, okay. Maybe even do something like that. And as you see here now, I'm kind of playing with each thing a little more individually, but you'll also notice by now that what I'm doing is I'm kind of doing all four of these all together in chunks. You can be more fancy with this. I find this is just easy to do it and it looks fine. So he reaches down.
All right. That'll be.
This should probably stay more down a little bit, and then again we can also zoom in more to kind of get more precise.
Sardonia.
All right. That'll be 50. That'll be.
Okay, hold it here a little bit because it kind of holds here, and sometimes you just kind of shake things and move them a little bit just to kind of hold it.
That'll be 50.
Maybe move this over a little bit.
That'll be 50 gold.
Then he kind of raises it back up.
That'll be 50 gold.
So now you want him obviously to go out of that pose. Maybe go back to something like this. And this point is, you know, coming up with facial expressions is part of the art of it. I'm no expert. However, if you're watching this tutorial in preparation for Songs of War, my advice would be just to watch Songs of War in the past, kind of see what expressions I've gone for. I'll try to talk you through some as I'm doing them, but obviously we don't have all the expressions here to work with. But
that'll be 50 gold.
One thing you'll notice I do a lot in Songs of War is I don't really, let me reset the face real quick. I usually tend to bring the eyebrows down a tiny bit by like the default, and I kind of keep things a little more like that versus have like the default like this seems a little more surprise to me. Anyway, let's go to the next part where he talks. So he's not talking
That'll
for a little bit.
Gold.
He passes on the map. He looks a little bit sad here. I'm watching it back, and I'm seeing over here he seems a little bit on the sad side. So I'm going to actually kind of level out a little bit of these things. I have a little more on the sad bit, so let's kind of flatten that. Also, out of curiosity, oh, cool. You can get rid of the, I never really thought about that. I can get rid of that little arrow thing in the here by clicking on that to get rid of it, so now I don't have to see that anymore. This helps, but I can still see it here. That's kind of nice.
Right, that'll be 50 gold.
This looks a little bit sad, but maybe it just needs a smile. So we can always come back to it later if we need to do some final polish tweaks at the end. Anyways, he's off camera for a little bit.
If you want all of Ardonia, it's going to cost you double.
Okay, so he's not really angry here yet. He's kind of he's playing with them, like if you want all of it. So let's start with them. Again, I kind of, a lot of times just go back to neutral. This also seems like a good opportunity for another kind of asymmetrical face. The more kind of asymmetrical moments you can get, I find the more expressive people are. If they're always very symmetrical, you don't really get as much like interesting kind of.
Want all of Ardonia.
So here he kind of.
Want all of Ardonia.
He kind of goes all of Ardonia, so maybe kind of raise one eyebrow a whole lot. Whereas the other one doesn't really raise, it just kind of, well, raises the eyebrow, but doesn't actually go up that much. Just kind of something like that.
Want all of Ardonia.
Then I make a curve and kind of bring it back down. And then curve these back up because he's kind of a little happy.
Want all of Ardonia. Ardonia.
Also seems like it should kind of come down a little sooner.
If you want all of
Let's bring this a little closer.
Ardonia.
Right when we finish this thing, Ardonia, I should kind of finish his eyebrows coming
all
down.
of Ardonia. All of Ardonia.
And then wait, and now it kind of pauses here.
Ardonia.
So we're going to go forward till right before he starts talking, maybe kind of lower it down a little bit more. Maybe rotate these back in and just time it more. Very subtle, so it kind of goes.
All of Erdonia. It's going.
It looks actually a little too much even. Oh, one thing also worth mentioning, you'll see me doing a lot of these button mouse 4 and 5. That's my mouse 4 and 5 buttons on the side. I have those hotkeyed to jump between keyframes, so I don't have to reach all the way over and use the arrow keys. You can use up and down arrow keys, but that takes my hand away from the WASD area. Also, you'll notice I have Q and E set to do forward and backwards in normal frame, because it's also near the WASD area. So I haven't been moving my hands at all. My Q and E gets forward and backwards frame, and my mouse jumps between keyframes. I noticed I didn't mention that before, but yeah, I have my hotkeys modified a bit in order to make animating way easier. Anyway, back to what I was doing.
If you want all of Erdonia, it's going to cost. It's going to
cost you. Maybe right here he kind of level out, raise his eyes even more.
It's going to cost you double.
And then not be quite so shocked looking. He's very shook right now. Just make him not so shook.
It's going to cost you double.
And then here now he's going to kind of lower it down a lot, but look kind of. He's going to be kind of happy at the same time. He's hoping he can rip them off a little bit right now. So he's getting nice low eyebrows, but still have that kind of curve bit. Sorry if you hear someone hammering above us. There we go. And again, see how I'm doing a little bit. I'm intentionally making a little bit more asymmetrical, because symmetrical faces are just kind of bland. Whereas if you get that kind of sly looking face, a little more interesting.
It's going to cost you.
I don't quite like the part where he raises his eyebrows as much. Let's lower that a little bit more.
It's going to cost you double.
Yes.
It's going to cost you double.
Yes.
Want all of Erdonia.
Also right here it's looking a little bit flat.
Want all of Erdonia. It's going to cost you double.
Yes.
That looks pretty good. Again, it's not amazing, but it's totally gets the job done. I would recommend anyone to go above and beyond what I'm doing and kind of find better ways of doing faces, but again, this was more how I do faces. Okay, so he's reaching under here for another map. So I'm kind of going to the start of the shot. I'm actually going a little bit before the shot starts and kind of
Alright.
have him kind of looking at another map again, similar to before, have him kind of scrunching his eyes as he's kind of looking the map over.
Alright, that'll be 200 gold.
Then again with the kind of low eyebrows as he's trying to make 200 gold off them, but kind of at the same time the kind of happy, mischievous looking ones. And I usually, if he's completely happy, I'll have the eyebrows flat. If he's more like just kind of standard happy, it'd be kind of more, give that kind of look a little bit.
That'll be 200 gold.
And here I might even do a little bit of a,
That'll be 200.
he kind of goes, that'll be 200 gold, and comes down. So I might have a little bit of an eyebrow raise in the middle, right in the middle here. I'm going to bring the eyebrows up. That'll be 200 gold. That way he can end the sentence on the eyebrows kind of going back down.
That'll be 200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
Here we get some angry bits, so now I'm going to set all the keyframes here right before the start of the shot.
It's 200. It's 200.
Then we'll reset things in a little bit and move it down here. Get a little bit of a, when I have people angry, I usually bring the eyebrows nice and low. Also, you'll notice when I rotate these things, it kind of starts getting a little off-centered, so usually then I'll have to go and grab these, pull them back in a little bit. Also worth noting, I didn't mention before that when doing all these facial animations, I always have the individual origins set. If you had it set to median point, you'd start getting some weird stuff like that. So definitely stay in individual origins.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's 200 gold, pal.
So he goes a little angry at first. It's 200 gold, pal. So again, a lot of this is like listening to the dialogue, finding out where the beats in the conversation are, where his kind of phrases are. This is actually how I do the character animation as well. I listen through the dialogue. I find out where the ups and downs, the starts and stops of the sentences are. So it goes, it's 200 gold, pal. So you want it to end on a pal. He kind of is a little angry at the end. But if he's already angry now, we can't really get the effect of him being angry at the end. He's just going to be angry the whole time. So we're going to make him a little angry.
Gold.
But then when he says gold here, he's going to get a little bit less angry. open up his eyes a little bit more, raise his eyebrows a tiny bit. Let's do that for the other one. That way we can bring it back down in a moment.
Pal.
So now on PAL, let's actually just reset it all and bring it all back down. Bring it down a little more. He's more annoyed than anything. There we go.
It's 200 gold, pal. It's 200 gold, pal.
Definitely don't neglect watching this one, because sometimes we get in the habit of kind of watching the viewport, and it might look like one thing in the viewport, but from like that camera angle, it might look a little different. Let's actually make this a little bigger. It might be a little hard to see on the tutorial, so let's make that a little bigger just for you guys. There, it's be a little easier to see now. Okay.
It's 200 gold, pal.
Honestly, if you want, you could even change like the graph editor to something like that and just push that aside, because you won't really be doing the graph editor for most of this. In fact, almost none of the facial animation I'd use graph editor. So if you wanted to, you could change this to a viewport, get rid of that, pull this way over if you want a little more space. But in this case, I don't bother because I'm fine with a little kind of small window.
Gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's 200 gold, pal. 200 gold, pal. Gold, pal. 200 gold, pal. 200 gold.
So here, it's looking a little bit kind of lame.
It's 200 gold, pal. 200 gold.
So one thing I'm noticing is that his eyebrows are a little slow to go up, and their expression at this point is kind of just...
200 gold, pal.
So one thing I'll do here to avoid everything looking to keyframe, 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 we're going to go to this keyframe. We're going to go back like 1, 2, maybe 3. Maybe let's go 2. We're going to set a keyframe on everything again. So we put a keyframe here. And now we're going to bring this one over a little more. That way we'll get this kind of easy. It speeds up and then it slows down, but it's continuing to animate a tiny bit. Then it goes back down.
200 gold, pal. 200 gold, pal. Pal. Pal.
Same thing right here. I'm going to actually get... Although this, rather than copying keyframes here, I'm just going to try to take this and go forward a bit and kind of continue the motion as he kind of stays here. But he's kind of also relaxing his face a little bit because he got to the end of the thing. Go forward, and that was way too quick.
Pal.
Then right here, here's the ding. So then he's going to go into like an inquisitive expression, which is nice having some kind of thing like that. It's like, huh? Who's at the door? You could go really inquisitive, or you could just go kind of, huh?
Welcome to...
And here's doing more of the kind of fake happiness, where he's just kind of like faking being a super nice guy. Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. So you can have him go kind of full on. Even raise his eyes a little bit.
What?
So it's looking alright, although the transition between when he goes from inquisitive to happy is very linear right now. It just kind of goes inquisitive, happy. So I'm probably going to have him go inquisitive, and then kind of lower his expression a little bit more prior to him talking. That way when he goes into the talk, again, it'll be a little happier at that point. Kind of looks like a testificate. If you added a little nose here, it'd be kind of like a little Minecraft villager.
Welcome to...
Okay, looks alright, although because his one eyebrow was way up, having that eyebrow go way back down looks weird, so that one's not going to go down as much.
Welcome to Marshall's...
And also this one's not going to go up quite as much here. Otherwise it moves a lot more.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop.
Then here he's going to continue having the happy, but having more of the kind of squinted happy where he's kind of like closes his eyes a little more. He's like, yeah, welcome to Marshall's Map Shop.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop.
And here I'm going to do the thing again where because I want it to kind of hold here, but I don't want it to be frozen, I'll go to this keyframe, go back a little bit, keyframe them all, and I'll put that keyframe kind of here, then where I hold it, I'll have it go like that. It's hard to explain that, but what I basically am doing is just kind of I'm using the interpolation by Blender to make a new keyframe, and then space things differently to make things kind of time differently.
Marshall's Map Shop.
It sounds more complicated than it is. I wish I could do like a really quick demo of explaining it, but it's just kind of look at what I was doing as far as the keyframes.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop.
I use that in a lot of things, even like character movements and stuff.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. We've got maps of our. We've got maps of. We've got maps of our. We've got maps of Ardonia for. We've got maps. We've got maps of Ardonia for the price of 50 gold.
And he's off camera again, so we don't need to worry about him. Then we're getting to the end. Here we go. So it goes now kind of right before the shot. Keyframe again.
Gold. For you and your friend. Gold. For you and.
So now, okay, this is one. Let's listen to this again.
Gold. For you and your friend, it's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not?
There's going to be a lot to work with in this one. Some lines are a little more straightforward. This one's got a lot of different kind of emotions and kind of expression bits. So at the beginning is very angry.
For you and your gold. For you and
let's attack it bit by bit. So for you and your friend, this one I'm going to make it a little bit less angry and more on the kind of annoyed at the start. Then at the end he'll get the real angry thing. So it'll be like
gold. For you and your friend. For you and your friend. Gold. For you.
And also a lot of this kind of syncs to the dialogue. So I'll go for you.
For you. For you.
You right here. Also, you could make it so you can you could have a little timeline where you can see the audio. When we get to the mouths, we'll be adding this. I've gotten so good at just scrubbing through, playing it a bunch, pressing spacebar. That I don't really see the audio. I just hear the audio. But if you want, you can always bring the audio up so you can kind of visualize it. But right here it goes for you.
For you and for you. For you and your friend.
So for you.
You and your
friend. So friend. So that the two key moments here are you and your friend. So I'm going to put keyframes on both of those. This one's going to be a little more angry, but not much. He's still mostly just kind of... He's kind of fed up at this point. And now I'm going to go add something in between. We're just going to go for you and your... Have a little bit of kind of a breathe in here where then this goes up a little bit.
You and your friend, gold. For you and your...
And because it's seeming like it's almost kind of going really slow, then speeding up a bunch at the end, I'm bringing it a little bit closer to the left side. So it goes for you and your friend.
Your friend.
You bring the friend bit down a little.
Your friend, it's 200. For you and your friend, it's 200. For you and your friend. For you and your friend.
It's kind of looking a little weird at the moment.
You and your friend.
I think also the eyes here, the eyebrows getting a little more... There we go, that looks a little better.
For you and your friend, it's 200. For you and your friend, it's 200. Friend.
Here we probably can actually just have the face kind of frozen.
Friend.
Because he literally is kind of like frozen at this point.
It's 200. It's 200.
Now I'm going to go back to just super dull. He's not angry, he's just... So I'm going to bring the eyebrows actually all the way down to the thing like that.
It's 200. Now. It's 200.
And here I'm going to do the thing again where it goes kind of...
It's
goes up a little bit first. So in between here I'm going to raise them a little bit.
It's 200.
Then I'll go before this frame a little bit. Sorry, before the keyframe. Grab, make keyframes, pull those over.
200.
Pull these that way. Now you get a little movement.
Now. It's 200. Now.
And then here.
Now. Now.
See how I'm putting that keyframe right here, so it goes
now.
There, it goes now. And kind of raise it back up. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing with facial expressions until I do it. I'll just start like playing around with things until I get something I like.
Now. do you want to... Now, do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it or not? Now, do you want to... Now.
Sorry, I'm being kind of quiet through a lot of this tutorial. A lot of this is kind of like thinking and listening and watching.
Now, do you want to...
Which is how I do, obviously, most of it. Unfortunately, a lot of this means you can't really listen to much music and
Now,
stuff. In fact, this tutorial I'm probably not going to even have any music because I might just drown out hearing all this stuff.
Now, do you want to buy it or not?
Normally I have music.
Now, do you want to...
I'm still not sure I like this.
Now.
No. There we go. Maybe something like that. Looks a little better now.
Now, do you want to buy it?
Then go forward a little bit, kind of raise some eyebrows a little more.
Do you want to buy it or... Do you want... Now, do you want to buy it or... Do you want to buy it or... Want to buy it or...
And here is going to look a little bit glum for a moment. Do you want to buy it? Or not?
Do you want to buy it or... Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it?
Oops. And again here, another case of...
You want to buy it?
You don't want to necessarily go straight from a pose of a thing
Want to buy it?
to another pose of a face. You'll want that kind of like intermediate kind of... Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? So do you want to... And right here, raise the eyebrows in the middle up a little bit. So you can kind of get a...
Want to buy it or not? Do you want to buy...
Probably a little more to the left.
Want to buy it or not? Want to buy it or not?
And then at the end, this is where he really gets like kind of... There we go. Let's just reset everything at the very end and go full grumpy. Bothers me with the BPS Rig V2 that you always have to do this extra step of rotating the eyebrows a little more and moving a little more to the side. Hopefully with eventually we'll fix that.
Buy it or not? Do you want to buy it or not?
This actually works here without
Now.
the kind of in between, just going, you want to buy it or not?
Do you want to buy it or not? Now, do you want to buy it or not?
Could even go a little less closed, more open mad, like he's really, not that much, but maybe a little more of a kind of open eyes
Buy
angry.
it or not?
Actually, yeah, I like that a little better.
Do you want to buy it or not?
That also emphasizes the fact that we had scaled the eyes down a little bit more earlier.
Want to buy it or not?
Maybe not that much, since it's looking a little bit much.
It or not?
And we're done. Okay, so we've got the upper eyes. The lower eyes are much easier. Like, the upper eyes, I think, are actually one of the things I dread the whole most about all of this stuff, even more than doing the mouth. And it's not necessarily it's that much harder. It's just that the upper eyes are where almost all of the expression comes from, so you really have to get that right. If you don't get that right, nothing really works. So next, we're going to lower eyes. And again, we're staying on location, rotation, scale. So let's go to start. And at the very beginning, he's kind of, he's closes, he's kind of, what do you call it? He's straining himself as he's kind of holding this big heavy chest, so he kind of, raise the lower eyelids up a little bit, even though it's off camera.
Welcome.
Then he goes, welcome, opens his eyes, maybe opens up a little even more to really get a nice, like, welcome. And maybe I'll kind of scale it up a little bit to get a little bit of a happy.
What can I help you with today?
Then I'll go back to just kind of default.
Hi. We'd like to purchase a map of Ardonia.
Then here it can be kind of default again, so let's neutralize it.
All right.
And as he reaches down, it can be a little more expressive here, with kind of like a little bit of curve there. Let's bring this one up a bit. This was the one that we were kind of squinting anyway, so let's emphasize that even more by kind of scaling this up a little more and pulling it up so it kind of reaches in, like so.
All right. That'll be 50 gold.
Then neutralize it all again. I keep saying neutralize, I mean like reset stuff. And then here, make him a little bit... Actually, he's not too happy at this point. He's just kind of neutral.
That'll be 50 gold.
Maybe that's why I'm saying neutralize it.
Uh,
A lot of the lower eyes you can kind of just leave alone. A lot of times I don't even really touch it hardly at all. Just on the most expressive bits. It'll be neutral.
Want all of Ardonia.
Here goes all of Ardonia. Maybe kind of smile a little more like that. I say smile it because having that kind of thing works nice with smiles.
It's going to...
And again, I'll just neutralize it.
Want all of Ardonia, it's going to cost you double.
Yeah.
Then right at the end, he's going to kind of squint a little bit. He's going to go
Cost you double.
He's going to kind of raise his lower eyelids, not with any curving really, just normal raised.
Double.
Yes, we want.
To get that extra
It's going
kind
to
of
cost you double.
get that kind of smirk, not so much smirk, but I don't know how to
Double.
describe it.
Yes, we want all of Ardonia. That's.
So he's picking up another map. Let's just kind of reset it.
All right, that'll
Maybe get another kind of asymmetrical expression here.
be 200 gold.
And then here he's doing a little bit of that kind of, again, the asymmetrical smile as he's trying to bootleg them off to 200 gold. Although bootleg's not the right word at all. I don't know why I said bootleg. There we go. Maybe not quite that much.
It'll be 200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
And then here we'll kind of start it maybe with, as if he was kind of happy a bit right here with these little things. But then right when the scene starts,
It's 200
neutralize,
gold, pal.
kind of make his eyes a little more closed. And then right when he hears the ding, lower him, kind of go, huh? And then right here,
Welcome to Marshall's map
then do the little squinted.
shop.
You raise it up a little bit. So now you see him just kind of going through and kind of, a lot of times I'll kind of reflect what's happening at the top, but in opposites. So right now he's going to raise his eyes up. So let's put a keyframe, and then when it
We've got
goes up,
maps of-
we're going to kind of pull it further away.
We've got maps of Ardonia for the price of 50 gold.
Now he's off camera, so it doesn't
Wait.
matter.
I thought you just said it was 200 gold.
For you.
And right here, let's kind of lower it a little bit. Let's actually reset it all.
For you and your friend.
Kind of raise it up a little bit so he acts a little more of a kind of.
For you and your friend. It's
And right here, raise it back up.
200.
Or sorry, not raise it back up, but reset it.
It's 200. Now.
Then right before he does the expression, set another keyframe, and then
Now.
right here he's going to go into a. No. Something a little more. I'm not sure I even like this expression too much, honestly. I might go back and tweak this in just a moment. I'm not sure. Sometimes you'll go back and once you add in the rest of the stuff, you'll find that you don't really like the upper thing. I think it's because it needs to be more of like an angry thing. He seems like it's too almost like sad. So I'm gonna do that right now. Because I'm on location rotation scale still. This is why it's nice that these are both location rotation scale. We can go and make tweaks to something like this. That doesn't really mess stuff up. But let's see if we mess up another thing. No. Kind of goes into this other one.
Do you want to buy it or not? Now. Now. Do you want to buy it or...
This is kind of interesting. I did something where kind of one of his eyes lowers even more down. And this one kind of goes more up. So it kind of gets a weird kind of slanted look.
Now. Do you want to buy it? Now. Do you want to buy it or not? Do you want to buy it or not? Or not?
So I can
You want to
buy it, or
buy it
or
not?
not.
Or not? It or not?
So again, I'm kind of following the dialogue
Buy it
here.
or not? Buy it or not? Buy it or not? It or not? It or not?
And again, I'm going to do the thing where I go back like a few frames, make a keyframe, then pull those over, so you get a little bit of kind of continuation. in
Or
the movement.
not? It or not?
Although I think now he's actually looking too squinted.
Or not? Or not? Buy it or not?
That's looking better now.
Buy it or not?
So yeah, between looking at both of these, you just kind of watch these a bunch and kind of compare.
200. Now, do you want to buy it or 200? Now, do you want to buy it or not?
That looks pretty good. I'm not entirely happy with that bit here, where it's like, no.
Now.
This is where just practice and trying different expressions and learning this more as a skill it becomes more useful, whereas I just kind of do it amongst all the other stuff. But that's pretty good for now. So let's mark that as correct, and we'll move on to blinks. Blinks are also very easy. One of the advantages is now, first of all, we're only going to be moving these things. I only use this for blinks. I don't bother doing the eyebrows. And now once we have these selected, we can see where all the keyframes already are. So it's just really easy to find stuff. So let's go to the start. And let's watch this, and we'll kind of see if there should be a blink here.
Welcome. What can I help you with today?
Actually, a little bit of a blink right around here would be good, because we see that he's kind of on camera for a little bit, but nothing's really happening with his face, nothing's happening with his expression. So maybe right around here, we're going to insert a blink. What I like to do is to save on keyframes. You can use an existing keyframe as one of the points in the blink. So let's go to that keyframe, and we'll go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Set keyframes. So now between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we haven't changed any facial animation. We just used the existing interpolation. But now we're going to go from right here and go 1, 2, and then reset scale, reset rotation, move it down, and then just kind of match the bottom. There we go. So now we have 1, 2 down, 1, 2, 3 back up. And we only made 2 new keyframes. We used an existing one. So we got a little
What can I help
little blink in there.
you with today?
Let's go to the next little bit. Here he comes walking out.
All right, that'll be 50 gold.
Maybe
That'll be 50 gold. 50 gold.
right kind of as he's handing it to him at the end. As for blinks, so as far as the time between blinks, I'm not really sure what the correct way of doing these. I'll vary between sometimes just 4-frame blinks, 2 on the close, 2 on the up. Sometimes I'll do 3 actually, 1 down, 2 up. I think it's real fast. 5 is kind of my standard, 2 down, 3 up. Sometimes you go a little bit slower. If you kind of want to feel the blink, you'll go more for like 7 or 9. I usually make the down a little bit faster than the up. That's just more of a stylistic choice. So let's go to this point where he's hanging the map. Let's make this one maybe like a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keyframe, then go 1, 2, 3 forward. Reset, rescale, everything, pull it down. Now you get another blink here.
Gold.
In this case I did 6, which is an even amount, but like I was saying a moment ago, I usually do more like an odd amount.
Want all of Ardonia, it's going to cost you double.
Definitely needs at least 1 or 2 blinks in here. There's a lot of kind of empty facial expression.
Want all of Ardonia, it's going to...
Also, it's, where you put the blinks is kind of subjective. I never put blinks like right on a camera cut. I'll usually do it sometimes like when characters are kind of frozen for a moment to kind of help break up the frozenness. I also like to avoid having them blink right as their eyes move. So I wouldn't make them blink like right here. Then you kind of miss out on the eye movement. So I'd probably do it right after his eyes move. Maybe right here. There's no eye movement here, and there's a little gap. So start right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out. Go back 1, 2. There we go.
It's going to cost you double. Going to cost you...
Let's do a really quick blink in here. There's another kind of big gap where nothing's happening. So let's do a 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do a 4 one.
You double.
Yes, we want all of Ardonia. That's what we asked for.
All right, that'll be 200 gold.
I thought you said it...
You don't always need blinks in every shot. In this case, I feel like it almost doesn't even need a blink here.
double.
It's 200 gold, pal. Pal. 200 gold, pal. 200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's 200 gold, pal.
Hard to find a good spot for blink in that one. Because he's a little more angry, the blink would be definitely pretty fast. So I'm going to put it right here and just do a 1, 2, 3. 1 keyframe, close. No, I don't really do 3 actually. It's been so long since I've done facial expressions. I don't think I really used 3. I think having at least 2. The other problem with making it too fast is then you start getting the kind of really blurry faces.
Pal. Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. Welcome to Marshall's Map.
Right in here, there's a kind of big gap. So let's go right to the beginning of here, and this, because it's a little more kind of being friendly, will make this blink a lot slower. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Go back to the start. 1, 2, 3. Reset. Move down. Boom. There's the blink.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. We've got maps of Ardonia for the price of 50 gold.
Wait, I thought you just said it was 200 gold.
For you and your friend. For you and your friend. Your friend.
Right after he says friend, I'm going to do another quick blink. 1, 2, 3, 4.
For you and your friend, it's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not?
Because I didn't like this facial expression too much here, I can kind of mask some of that by having a blink in here. Do a six frame blink. The eye does move on the very last frame, but by that point the eyes will be mostly open again anyway. Yeah.
Now, do you want to buy it or not?
And there we go. Blinks are done. In fact, the actual like facial stuff itself is done now. So the blinks are good. Check all that off. On to mouths. We're almost done. The mouths can take some time. They're not very difficult though. So, important reminder, remember we're going back to the mouth. We'll be using this thing now. We don't need scale anymore, so we can set back to location rotation, and we will never need location rotation scale again until we're doing somebody else's eyebrows and blinks and eyes and lower eyes and stuff. It's literally just these 6 things that will need location rotation scale. So, on to mouths. This time we're definitely gonna want to bring in dialogue. So, let's raise this up a little bit, split it in half. Go to the video sequence editor. I already have all the audio in here. Scale it up a bit. And might even want to kind of scale to like, there we go. Then make sure we can see our waveforms by doing what I just did very quickly. Go to view waveforms, turn it on. Sorry, this isn't really too much a tutorial, a lot of generic Blender stuff. It's more specifically on the BPS facial animation stuff. Okay, so dialogue sync, here we go. I have all his lines on that row, or sorry, yeah, row. So we know that all his stuff is up there and everyone else's stuff in the other one. So these are going to be the ones we're going to be doing right now. It looks like a lot, so let's get started. So at the beginning, he's looking away. It doesn't matter what we do with his mouth. We'll just close it.
Well,
right when he says welcome, we're going to zoom way in on the dope sheet. We're going to be using the dope sheet a lot. We could even kind of make this a little smaller. I might make this a little smaller too. We won't be using this for much other than seeing whether he's on camera or not. So I can make this a little smaller again. Because for the mouth, you'll be wanting to mostly look at the main screen for the mouth. So he says welcome. So the way I do dialogue is just kind of listen to it a whole bunch. Keep using your go back a keyframe button to kind of play it, go back, play it, go back, and you kind of listen to it as we do it. Which is again why I'd recommend doing some custom hotkeys. So you have like your left and right keyframes. You've got your space bar to play. You got your Q and E to push between. We'll be doing that. Do lots of scrubbing. So use default. He's going to go to welcome. So we'll go closed on welcome. Closed. He says welcome. He says it quite loudly. So nice and big. One thing I recommend when doing facial expression, or sorry, mouth, is don't underestimate it, how much the mouth needs to move. When I first was doing my very first tests, I was just going like, okay, he go welcome, like this, like that, maybe like welcome. But then it was not, you weren't really seeing enough movement. When you just see this kind of like, blah, 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 blah. It looked like he was mumbling. You really want to kind of emphasize it a fair amount more, especially here he's yelling it, so it's like, you want a nice big
welcome.
So then right here it goes closes his mouth on the
welcome,
and he kind of has it more kind of, so it's basically up and down, left and right, or wider and tight, up and down stuff. So make it a little tighter and closed.
Okay.
He goes He goes a little wider and close on the em. Closes on the m.
Welcome.
Yeah, so you get the oh, and then go down. And right as he's finished saying I'll kind of open it back up just a tiny bit. And kind of there's a little gap between some dialogue, so I'll just kind of play with it, give it a little slight. See how I give it that slight movement. Then he goes what? And here he kind of holds in the woof for a moment. So what? He goes what? So a lot of this you'll see. The main way I do this is I'll go what, and I'll I'll pose it, then I'll realize I pressed
Can I-
place. I pressed play and pause too slowly, so I'll have to then go in the dope sheet and move it back a bit. So go
What?
right here is the what,
Okay.
and close it. K.
What can?
And again, see, it was a little too.
What can?
This would be more like here.
What can I? What can I?
This guy talks pretty darn fast, so he's gonna have a lot of quick kind of.
Okay.
Can I?
Can I?
Yeah, see again how it's like way over here. It just keeps pulling over.
Can I? Can I? Can I help you with
He's
today?
actually not even on camera anymore, so.
What can I help you with today? Welcome. What can I help you with today? What can I? What can?
A lot of it's just playing it back over and over.
What can I? Can I? Can I? What can I?
And a lot of times you'll find that all of it's a little bit delayed and just move the whole thing over.
Can I help you with? Help you
And we're going to kind of just move on from this one now. He's
With
turned away.
today.
So let's go to the next one. This is where you'll start thanking yourself for all the amount of time you had the characters face off camera. You don't have to do all this. And right before he says all right, you get it kind of closed. And then right here goes,
all
oh.
right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. 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 That.
Okay, and then so he goes right, and then between words again, I'll kind of have it kind of have the mouth almost kind of like bounce back open a little bit. That way we can keep the kind of read. If the mouth completely closes, you kind of lose, you know, seeing if he's smiling or frowning later. So having a little bit of that kind of keeping it even just barely cracked open, then it'll go back closed when he's because that'll be.
That'll. That'll be.
Sometimes it's just such a blur of dialogue you can't even figure out what they're even saying. So you just have to kind of.
That'll be.
You know, have to just watch it and see if it looks weird. Now you're saying B, so I have a nice kind of wide E looking thing.
That'll be 50. That'll be 50.
And sorry that I'm not talking too much through the actual like
50.
expression. This is something that
50.
it's hard to explain. You just have to kind of feel it. So if you go E, it's more wide. 50, both the 50, the fifth would probably not quite as wide, more 50.
50.
G.
Go.
Oh, then goes like go, then kind of wider LD. So you kind of just
Go.
figure it out over time and kind of
Go.
see what works. At this point, I've just done so much of it for season 1 that I kind of I have almost every kind of sound mapped to a kind of thing mentally. And a lot of it's also comparatively. Did you see how when I was doing the 50 gold, I made like the 50, I made the E slightly wider than the F because the E sound should be a little wider.
Go.
So let's watch that back.
Yeah.
All right. That'll be 50 gold.
Okay, let's double check the part here where it got a little messy.
All right. All right. That'll be 50. That'll be 50. That'll be.
That'll. It seems like it's closed for 3 whole frames. I'll bring that one back open a little bit, just a little bit. There.
Right. That'll be 50 gold. That'll be 50 gold.
That seems pretty good.
All right. That'll be 50 gold. Be 50.
And right here seems to mess up a little bit.
Be 50.
Yeah.
I'll be 50. Be 50.
I might even have him right here where he goes 50.
50. Be
Yeah, I'm gonna have the close on the close for 2 frames now.
be 50.
So you kind of feel the then it kind of jumps open here.
50.
Fifth, even here I'm gonna have it close a little more.
50. Be 50. I'll be 50 gold. I'll be 50 gold.
That looks pretty good. Moving on to the next one. Luckily he's off camera,
you-
Then right before the thing, just kind of reset it.
If you,
So it goes
you-
you.
if you want, if you want,
Another really fast one. You
you want,
want.
you want,
Here's a case where you get a kind of extended kind of, it's not just like want, it's want olive. So you're going to want it to kind of like, rather than just going straight to the want,
you want,
the A, with the top of the A is kind of right here. If you want, rather than just going straight from here to the A, I'll actually go more like in the middle and kind of maybe raise it open more like this. And then that way kind of like, see how now you get this kind of rolling motion that looks a little better.
you want, 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 all over, Oliver.
Here, sometimes you get the problem where two of these things are like perfectly the same open, so you really get this weird kind of mouth widening thing. I never like that. So I'll always make one slightly less open and then the other one slightly more open, so you get this kind of more. It also seems like it went straight up and then stopped.
Oliver.
But it's probably so fast you might not even notice.
Want Oliver. 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 Don't. Oliver. 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 Don't. 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 Yeah.
Sorry, it's kind of quiet for a little bit. Just getting through that a little bit. Let's see how that kind of looks.
If you want Oliver.
The very beginning might be a little messed up,
If you-
although he is off camera, that's right.
You want Oliver Donia. Want Oliver Donia. Want Oliver Donia.
Right here is the part I'm not too happy with.
Oliver Don. Oliver. 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 Donia. 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 Yeah. 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 It's going to cost. If you want Oliver Donia. If you want Oliver Donia. It's going.
That's pretty good though.
It. It. It's. It. It. It's. It's. Going to. It's go. It's go. It's going. It's going to. Going. Going to. Going to.
A lot of the rest of this tutorial actually is going to be me being pretty quiet, and we're just going to be kind of playing it through. You'll hear it. You'll see me doing.
Going to cut.
You'll kind of see me making the faces or the mouths or whatever.
Going to. Going to. Going. Going to. To cost you. To cost. To cost. 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 You. You. To cost you. Cost you. 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 Double. Double. You double. 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 Going to cost you double. Donia. Want Oliver? If you want Oliver Donia, it's going to cost you double.
Yes.
Cost you double.
One thing that's pretty important is you want good frame rate. right now it seems like it's actually going a little slow.
Going to cost you double.
So, what I realized we can actually be doing is we can actually turn simplify back down to 0 because we don't actually need like the curvy stuff anymore.
Going to cost you double.
Now I'm getting a smooth 30.
Cost you double.
That helps so much with this stuff. If you don't have a smooth 30, it gets way more difficult to like time out this stuff. I should have thought that earlier. I was noticing it's going a little sluggish. I thought it was actually because I was rendering. I'm so used to always rendering, at least, that sometimes it'll do like compositing and slows things down for a
If
moment.
you want all of Erdonia, it's all of Erdonia. It's Erdonia, 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 it's Erdonia, all of Erdonia. It's going to cost you double. It costs you double. Double.
Yeah.
Double. Double.
Yes.
You double.
Yeah.
It costs you double. Double.
Sometimes here I want to kind of emphasize the double. So I'm going to go to that double, go forward a frame, and actually hold it kind of back open a little more.
Double.
Yeah.
Double. Double. Double.
Yes.
Cost you double.
Yes.
Cost you double. Double.
Yes. Yes.
Alright, let's go to the next bit. Another reaching down and going.
Alright. 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 Alright.
Doesn't quite close his mouth here, he goes more like, alright.
Alright. Alright. Alright. Alright. Alright. Alright. Alright. That'll be that'll be two that'll be that'll be that'll 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 be that'll be that'll be two 200.
Something like an H sound, like a huh. Your mouth kind of gets kind of closed like a huh, but you don't really like close your mouth.
200. Be 200.
One thing kind of just generally with doing mouths is make sure to get all those closes on all the k, b, m. But if you don't get all those closes, you just have a kind of like, oh, that's the one of the main things I see often. A lot of when I watch other people's Minecraft animations have dialogue. I looked at some before I did mine, and I noticed that a lot of people don't have their mouths closed enough, so you really get this kind of everything seems a little weird.
Alright, that'll be alright. Alright, that'll be 200 gold. Alright, that'll be be two 200 200 100 go 100 go 100 go gold 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 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's two. It's
Here's a case where you kind of want it closed for a while, again it goes, all that will kind of be closed.
it's
So for at least
it's
3 frames here,
it's
kind of stays closed.
it's 200 go 200 100 Butter go 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 pal gold pal gold pal gold.
Notice that he says gold. He doesn't actually really pronounce the d in gold. He kind of goes gold, pal.
Gold.
So I'm not actually going to have him fully close it here.
Gold pal. Gold pal.
But then right when he goes p. Also, I'm going to hold the P closed for 2 frames as well.
Pal. 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 Pal.
And then the pal, you want that to open real fast on a pal.
Pal. Pal. Pal.
And again, we want to kind of see the mouth a little bit because we're going to want to see that kind of frown later. But then here's an interesting case of there's no dialogue here, but we want to start doing a little bit of facial stuff, or sorry, a little bit of mouth stuff unrelated to talking because he hears something, so he might kind of open his mouth a bit and like, huh? Well, a lot of times when they're not talking, you'll still need this kind of stuff done. In this case, he's mostly on camera only when he's talking, so we haven't had much of that yet.
Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Marshall's map. Welcome.
There we go. So let's listen to this bit again.
All right, that'll be 200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's 200 gold, pal. Welcome to Marshall's
Seems pretty
map.
good. On to this one. We're near the end.
Welcome to Welcome.
Nice big wide welcome. He's yelling. He's looking very happy.
Welcome to welcome. 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 Welcome to
Hearing some of this sound is come on,
welcome to Marshall's map. Map shop.
Yeah, let's listen to the first half. Sometimes if you go too far ahead, you kind of lose sight of things. So let's listen to that first bit again.
Welcome to Marshall's map shop. Welcome to Marshall's map shop. To Marshall's map. Marshall's map. Map shop. Marshall's map shop. We've got Marshall's map shop. Marshall's map shop. We've got Marshall's map shop. Map shop. We've got maps of to Marshall's map shop.
And sometimes you can look back here and kind of check how it's looking over there.
Welcome to Marshall's map shop. Welcome to Marshall's map. Welcome to Marshall's map shop. To Marshall's map shop. Marshall's map shop. Marshall's map shop. We've got map.
There we go. That looks much better.
We've got map. We've got map.
So you have to go to a flea market. Some guys selling like bootleg DVDs.
Map.
We got all the Marvel movies for the price of 20 cents.
Maps of
Now he's off camera.
Maps of Ardonia for the price of
Thank goodness. You'll appreciate the moments when people are off camera so much once you start doing these things.
maps of Ardonia.
Now he's off camera, you just kind of ignore it. So let's go listen to that last bit again.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. Welcome to Marshall's Map. Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. We've got maps of Ardonia. Map Shop. We've got maps of Ardonia. We've got maps of Ardonia for the. We've got maps of Ardonia. We've got.
Seems like it's closing a little bit early.
We've got maps of shop. We've got maps of Ardonia for the price of 50 gold.
Much better.
Wait, I thought you just said it was 200 gold.
We're almost at the end.
Free.
It closes it.
For you. For you. For you. You and your you and
And again, when now he's yelling, and not so much yelling, but he's very kind of aggressive here, so we'll want a little more exaggerated on the size.
for you. You and for you. You and your friend. And for you. For you. You and you and you and you and your friend. You and your friend. Your friend. 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 And it it's too
And again, see here, I exaggerate a little bit more here. Is very.
it
I'm pretty big on the it.
it's
Oh, there's another little tip I just did there. I did so fast that you didn't probably notice. Sometimes if the keyframe's like way over here, and I want to get them right over to like right. It's right here is that's. Now, so I want to get that keyframe there. A real quick way to do it is Shift S, current frame.
it's 200.
So it just
It's
I do some of these things.
it's
I don't even realize I'm doing it.
200. It's 200. It's
Sometimes if it seems like the mouth is closed for too long, you can hear it's too. I'll kind of add a little bit of barely open bit in between, so you get a little bit of kind of. Still see the mouth kind of moving.
it's 200. 200. It's 200. 200.
Looks like a frog.
200. 100.
Ribbit.
100. Now. 100. Now. Now. Now.
You'll notice I'm not really looking at the dialogue too much. I'm mostly just playing it a whole bunch and
Now.
just kind of listening to it.
Now. 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 Do you want to? Now. Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you want? Want to? Do you want?
Sometimes you get so many movements all at once.
Do you want?
I just go do. It goes do. Wait.
Do you? Do you?
Gosh, do. You.
Wanna-
Wanna.
Do you want to?
So many like open and close on.
You want to? Want to?
Wanna.
Do you want to buy? Do you want to buy it? Do you want? Do you want? Do you want to? buy. Wanna buy. Wanna buy. Buy it. Buy it. Buy it. Buy it. Buy it. Or not. Buy it. Or buy it. Buy it. Buy it. Buy it. Or not. Buy it. Or not. Or not. Not. Buy it or not. Buy it or not. Buy it. Buy it. Or buy it. Buy it. Buy it or or not. Or not. Or not. Or not. 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 Not.
There we go. Okay, so now we've got that. Let's listen to that bit now.
100 gold.
For you and your friend, it's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not? Now, do you want to buy it or not? It or not? Now, do you want to buy it or not? Do you want to buy it or not? Do you want to buy it?
Yeah, right throughout this bit, it looks like it's just kind of getting a little bit too much overall, just kind of vibrating around everywhere. So we're going to see if I can try to hold it on the buy it or not bit a little more.
Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it?
Right there. Buy.
Buy it or buy it? Buy it.
Keep it a little more close here and settle down the it.
Or do you want to buy it or not? Want to buy it or not? Buy it or buy it? Buy it or buy it? Buy it or buy it? Buy it or buy it or not? Buy it or not?
That much better. Okay, so we're almost done. We've got the mouth. I call the next stage mouth curvature because it's how you do all this bits. And again, we're still in location rotation. So let's go back to the beginning. It's around here. Set a keyframe.
Welcome.
He says welcome. He's very happy. For most of this, we'll leave this as very you know, in the symmetrical keyframes at the same time. You may want to consider turning simplify back on to at least one so you can see a little more of the curves. Honestly though, it's very subtle difference. You can kind of get the general idea with this. If I prefer having a little more performance over perfect smoothness or whatever.
Welcome. What can I help you with today?
Hi.
So for most of this character, he's going to be pretty much symmetric on both sides here. He's kind of barely smiling here, not really happy, but he's not mad.
All right.
Now he's kind of reaching down here. Maybe I'll do a little more of a one side up a little more than the other.
That'll be 50 gold.
Kind of symmetricalize it out a little bit again here.
This is a map of Concord.
If you want all of our
Now kind of having a loose smile, but as if he's kind of like, oh, all of Ardonia.
if you want all of Ardonia, it's going to cost you double.
Now he's looking a little bit, he's kind of trying to hold in a little smile here.
Ardonia, it's going to cost you double. It's going to.
But then we don't want him going straight to that smile. Let's have him kind of, while he's talking about the money, being a little bit less smiley here.
It's going to cost you double.
Yes.
Then that
Cost you
smile can kind of come in at the end.
double.
Yes, we want all of Ardonia. That's what we asked for.
All right. All right.
You have him have a little bit of a frown here, as if he's kind of like checking it, like.
That'll be 200 gold.
And then he goes back to another smile.
All right. That'll be 200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's 200
Now definitely go into the frown.
gold, pal.
And kind of level off a little bit at the end, just kind of a general bit. Then he's looking a little surprised, but he's kind of flat right now.
Welcome to
Then he sees the person come in,
Marshall's Map Shop.
nice and big smile.
We've got maps of
Kind of keep the big smile throughout that whole bit.
Ardonia for the price of 50 gold.
Wait, I thought you just said it was 200 gold.
Then right before the thing, make a keyframe on these.
For you and your friend,
have this smile go away real quick, go into a full frown pretty much.
For you and your friend. For you and your...
That would go away faster and not quite as frowny.
For you and your friend, it's 200. Now,
Kind of level off again here.
now, do you want to buy it? Or not? Or not?
And there we go. That's pretty much it for this stage. I'm never too fancy with these. This is also the stage where I would play with some of these if you find you need them. I very rarely use these. I only use those on very kind of strange cases. Maybe for the purpose of this, maybe I'll do one like what right in here, maybe to kind of get like a, you know, maybe as he's kind of looking at the map. The main thing is to make sure you have it start and end with the default resting, because you don't want that to, if you don't want to make a tweak here, then have it like throughout the rest of the animation he's got this weird thing going. But so if we reset it here and there, maybe as he picks up this map, he could be a little kind of raise it up a little bit. One reason it doesn't really work is as he's talking, you know, it looks fine here, but then when he closes his mouth, then it kind of goes back in. I don't use this so much for when they're talking at all. It's just too much of a hassle, but I do sometimes if they're like in a very specific kind of, it's just facial animation and they're not saying anything, you could do something like that. Also, what I might do is at the very end, the one I do use probably the most from these is doing right here.
And it's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not?
Right at the very end, he has a kind of more of a grumpy, kind of lips pursed kind of look. So I made keyframes, everything's resting here, and then at the very end I'm going to kind of bring that lower lip up a little bit so he's looking a little more mad.
Not.
Then we bring it back down a little bit. Just gets a little more expression there. And also now I'm noticing because I did that, now the mouth seems a little too closed here. So I'm going to go back to that keyframe and kind of just raise it up a little more. And there we go. The curvature is done. We're almost done with everything. And my alarm just went off. Time to go to the gym, get ripped. I'll have to wait for a little bit. We're almost there. So, mouth movement. This is the very last thing I have. This is one thing that a lot of people don't use, or maybe the rigs they have don't have this feature. But this gets a whole lot of expression. I like to use this in a fair amount of cases, but we can get this to move a little bit. And I always start it with, you know, default.
Welcome.
Then when he says welcome, you can maybe rotate a little bit, pull a little bit to the side, so he's kind of like
Welcome. What can I help you with today?
goes back to default at the end.
Hi, we have Ardonia.
Then right here is perfect opportunity to really, oh, looks like I didn't reset it actually here.
What can I help you with today?
I think I had my mouse over the wrong viewport when I did that. But at the beginning of this shot,
All right.
this is a perfect case for he's kind of reaching down here, kind of mouth moves up to the side. Don't overdo this though, or you can start getting some real like cartoony looking stuff. Having a little bit to the side.
All right. That'll be 50 gold.
Unless you're doing a cartoony animation. I meant more if you're doing this for songs war based stuff.
All right. That'll be 50 gold.
Chord.
If you,
This is where you can really get a lot of kind of
you want
expression.
all of our, you want all of, you want all
So a
of,
lot of times I do a little bit of rotation
you want all of our,
and then a little bit of kind of pushing to the side.
you want all of our,
And I kind of, what I'll do is see how this case, it's kind of like one eyebrow went up, one kind of went down. And that means the face kind of, you expect it to be more like over here. You could do the kind of inverted one over here.
you want all of Ardonia.
Both work. Both just get slightly different looks.
You want all of Ardonia. It's
In fact, I think I
you
actually like
want
that
all of
better.
Ardonia. You want all of Ardonia.
But right when he says,
All of Ardonia.
when it says Ardonia, we want it to kind of come back towards the middle a little more.
You want all of Ardonia.
Maybe not that much.
All of Ardonia. It's
But then we'll kind of freeze. And then, so put another keyframe.
it's going to cost you double.
Then here, when I want him to cast mark the other way, now he's kind of thinking about the money he's trying to...
It's going to cost you double.
Yes.
but it looks like it kind of goes into it a little so smoothly you barely notice it.
It's going to cost you.
So I'm going to kind of leave it alone here, reset it there.
It's going to cost you double.
That way it kind
Cost
of
you double.
quickly goes in the smirk at the end.
We want all of our Donia.
And that's, you can see how, you know, without doing that, we couldn't get that nice kind of... Now you see where we began with kind of getting that little bit of a smirk, then we kind of play with it here, now we really got it in there. So now you get the nice kind of facial expression.
Yes, we want...
So go back here, reset it kind of the beginning of this shot.
Alright.
Maybe just do something kind of weird here, he's just kind of looking at it.
Alright, that'll be 200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's 200 gold, pal.
For when they're angry, I usually don't do too much stuff. Although here he's kind of inquisitive, so I kind of...
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. We've got maps of our...
Also, one thing I'll do sometimes is, see how he's kind of leaning that way? You can kind of rotate the mouth in order to keep his mouth a little more horizontally flat, which helps with the kind of readability.
Welcome to Marshall's...
So right here he's leaning in a lot, so I might lean in that a little more, like that.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop.
But here he's leaning the other way, so I might kind of lean it back this way a bit.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. We've got maps of Ardonia.
You don't want it to be so much where it's just like always flat, but having a little bit of that rotation kind of helps.
Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop.
So you're not seeing like a horizontal
of
mouth.
Ardonia for the price.
Or a vertical mouth, I guess. Zoom back out. We're almost done with this tutorial. We're almost there. Last little bit.
It was 200 gold.
For you and your friend.
And here I might even kind of lower the mouth, like he kind of lowers his jaw a little bit.
For you and your friend, it's 200. Now.
Then he goes,
now.
So he kind of raises it back up there.
Now, do you want to buy it or not?
And then here we'll definitely get some kind of angling.
Do you want to buy it?
And he goes, buy it.
Or not?
Or not. And then maybe even raises his mouth a little bit to make him look a little more mad. If you kind of raise out the mouth, you can kind of get that kind
or
of
not.
Angry look.
Do you want to buy it or not?
I think this one's a little too expressive here, the buy it. But
want to buy it or not?
it's getting a little covered up by all my little key press things. Let's watch that again though.
It's 200. Now.
It also, I think it's a little too low. I brought it way too low for the grumpy bit at the beginning.
For you and your friend, it's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not?
That looks good. Okay, now we're pretty much done. The final kind of thing to do is to don't forget eventually to turn that back on. That way we can go back to our regular camera. If you start, sometimes you'll start rendering the animation with that button on or something, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I have all my layers enabled in the scene or something, but then it was set to that. Like, if I change layers here, it doesn't affect it there. So you definitely want to make sure you don't remember to turn that back on. Although if you're rendering from default, it's fine, as long as you don't turn it off in default. Anyway, so now I would check it. You can leave the camera there for just a moment longer while we kind of preview this. I would preview it in something that has all the stuff hidden. I already have a low OpenGL viewport ready for that. So let's give it a good watch.
Welcome. What can I help you with today?
Hi. We'd like to purchase a map of Ardonia.
All right, that'll be 50 gold.
This is a map of Concord.
If you want all of Ardonia, it's going to cost you double.
Yes, we want all of Ardonia. That's what we asked for.
All right, that'll be 200 gold.
I thought you said it'd be double.
It's 200 gold, pal. Welcome to Marshall's Map Shop. We've got maps of Ardonia for the price of 50 gold.
Wait, I thought you just said it was 200 gold.
For you and your friend, it's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not?
Well,
Nice. That looks good. And let me actually preview that last little bit one more time. So
100 gold.
For you and your friend, it's 200. Now, do you want to buy it or not?
cool.
well,
Okay, I was actually thinking more about the timing if I want to extend that shot.
Not.
I think the kind of fast cut works in this case because it's just kind of just nope, they didn't want to buy it. All right, that's it. That's the whole thing. We got it set back to that. We switched to location, rotation, scale for a little bit just for the eyes, and then we didn't. We made the little helpful camera thing that sticks to the face. Make sure to get rid of that now. When you switch now, so at this point now, what I would be doing or what I will be doing off camera, off tutorial now, I'm going to go back and do the next character, and I'll do the same order of operations for all the characters. You go through all of them. If they're more background, you can be even less, a little bit less on things like, fancy. You don't need much eye dilation and stuff, or too much with stuff. The main ones are eye movement, upper eyes, and obviously the mouth. Those are the ones that, those three are very essential in getting the whole expression and dialogue and stuff. But that's it. I now do that and repeat that for all of them. As you can see, this is a very long thing. This took nearly 2 hours on one character, and that one character only has, shows up right here, about 148, and he's gone by 228. So was that only about 40 seconds of runtime? One character took nearly 2 hours. And this, now I'm gonna have the other character to do here, and then the other character to do here, in the same 40 seconds of animation. So as you can see, this can take a long time, although I probably went a little slower in this because I had to explain things as I was doing them. Although conversely, I was also not getting distracted, didn't open up any YouTube videos or check my emails at any point during this. So it's definitely a long process, but if you really bunker down and work on it, you can knock out this whole scene. This is actually a huge scene. This is a nearly 4-minute scene. Most of the Songs of War scenes have been around 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Some of them are a little less than 3 minutes, like 2.5 minutes, 1.5 minutes for some shorter ones. And they're always all talking. This is a very dialogue-heavy scene. This is probably going to be one of the biggest. I think there's one scene that'll be a little bigger than this, but you get the idea. Again, sorry if this tutorial was not my usual tutorial style at all. But again, this was kind of meant very specifically, like I was saying, for the people who are interested in doing Songs of War facial animation for Season 2 and beyond. And I wanted to, rather than me, after Season 1's all finished and done, me just doing some kind of random abstract kind of setup, I wanted to actually use a scene. And also, in the process, I finished that whole character's facial animation and everything now, so that helped me out a little bit. Now one character down here. But yeah, sorry it's a little different, but I hope this helped. And for those of you who are interested in becoming Songs of War facial animator or full animator, check out our apply page. I'm not sure what our apply page will say, in however many months from now when this tutorial comes out. But hopefully there'll be some positions available if I'm releasing this. And thanks for watching. Hope you learned a little bit about how I do the faces. Hope it helped a bit. And I will see you next video. Adios.